to Zwift Chat.
Okay, well, welcome to Zwift Chat, everyone. And if you can hear me, Rob's just miming at the moment. What episode are we on, Rob?
Right. Everyone saw what episode we were on because I mimed it. It's your stupid studio mode. It doesn't let me see the audio mixer.
I don't know why
It's
you
all
always
your
are.
fault.
I'm a little bit high on my thing. I'm going to take my cushion off. Otherwise, it feels like we're sitting on a podium.
Do you know, we look perfectly proportioned for once. Like, usually one of us has got a massive head. But today we look like we're quite neatly proportioned, I would say.
We'll see. Well, maybe that'll change during the rest of the podcast. I'll start leaning forward.
Yeah, let's mess it up. Anyway, welcome, legends. As I did say silently when I joined, started the show, we've got a very interesting show for you lined up. We have, we've got loads of people in the chat. Look at all this. Look at Darren.
Yeah, it's filled up.
Camille, everyone's obviously. Okay, Eric. Yeah, episode. I'm going to give up on studio mode. I'm going to give up on it. It's just not going to happen.
I can't believe that you only try and use studio mode like 3 seconds before you start the podcast.
True, yeah, and I've never bothered to learn how to do it. Just like,
we'll do a
Ben, how
practice
do I do
session
it?
with you.
Just like with 10 seconds to go.
I've got no sound. I'll be fine, Rob. You'll be fine. There's no sound.
Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you what, we've got some very, very exciting news tonight. We're going to be joined by Steve Jukes, Kaboomer, HCT, great sprinter, a great drafter. It's going to be all about draft and efficiency tonight. How do you win whilst using Lease NG? I would say me, you, and Steve are amongst. I mean, Holden. Let's say Holden. Who would you say is the most efficient person who wins the most races?
I don't want to. I can't choose one person, but I have noticed there are a lot more people who are getting much smarter about this. Like your ladder race that you did the other day. I think you've done one since then, but I noticed how smart that team is. I think ladder racing has definitely upped people's game, realizing the advantage of sitting in the draft rather than the riding 4 wide for the rest of for the whole course.
I mean, well, I don't want to get too dragged into ladder racing, but it is. I'm having done 2 now. It is a different form of racing, isn't it? Because it's just like it's so dynamic, and like if you make a go for it, like I did in the last one, like 5Ks from the finish. They really don't want to chase because they're going to drag all your teammates. I left.
Exactly.
We had one up the road, and I just made a dash for it, thinking, oh, they'll just have to chase me for a bit because I'm going to get done in the sprint. So I may as well use whatever energy I have to make them chase me. But they didn't. They were sort of, oh, do we chase? Do we not? Do we? He's quite far away, so maybe he'll come back naturally. And they didn't want to drag the rest of them with her. So it is.
Yeah, people are a lot smarter because they go. It's unlike a normal race where you just ride. Like some people just do it as a workout. They'll go, okay, I'll just drag the pack around. Doesn't really matter. Whereas in a team event, you've got to make sure that you're not an idiot. Otherwise, your teammates yell at you. Basically, like, what are you doing? What are you dragging the rest of the team along?
Yeah, Matt's here, and he did. he did chase me a little bit when I did my first breakaway, but we did a really smart breakaway because he's like much stronger than everyone else who was in the race, and Peter Windridge attacked, then I attacked, and then Matt attacked, and it was in Neokyo. You know that bump, the significant bump that there is about 3k from the start of some races or 5k. It's it goes up and then down, and it's the only
Yeah,
bump really to speak of.
yeah.
Yeah, so he hit,
And
and it
so,
just so coincidentally happened that and it was pre-planned, and he took anyway. Anyway, that's too boring. Uh, um, we've got Steve in, but
speaking of drafting to the win, Steve's drafted right in.
yeah. Whilst I'm getting Steve into the internet, uh, do you want to tell us how chasing's going?
Yeah, I'm going pretty good. The very first race that I had, I got a bit of arrhythmia on 1.5 laps in, just a couple of bad beats just before we hit the what's it called, the suppressor climb, and so I just backed off, eased off. I thought I was going to get off the heart rate kicked in normally again, so I just joined the next group and just cruised home, and it was pretty much I wasn't planning to do GC for the course or for the whole event. I was just going to use it for fitness. So it's worked out quite well because I was miles behind the GC. That's meant that I can relax. I do take my motto at the moment is basically try and stay in the group until about halfway. And then if it starts getting too hard, just drop back to the next group behind and just cruise in with some zone 2 efforts. I've missed 2 stages at the moment, which doesn't really matter with the GC, so it's good. I'm not stressing about getting home in time or having dinner in time.
Yeah, nice
But
one.
my speed's coming up. My strength is getting a lot better. I think I've not so much my FTP, but my endurance is coming up. I did a pretty good time trial last night. I wasn't going full on, but it's bringing my fitness in. And we're only sort of just past halfway. There's 18 stages. What we were on last night, stage 10 or something. So there's still a long way to go.
Well,
So
I want to talk about the psychology of tours briefly, but we're welcomed, but
yeah,
we're welcoming, in fact, the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Steve Jukes. How you doing, man?
Steve,
Oh no, he's got no volume.
it's all right.
Uh,
Sign language again.
I thought he might have no
Yeah.
volume because I could see zero on his input.
While he
Oh,
sorts out
oh,
the
oh,
volume
oh,
and he
oh,
types everything out, I could hear something.
Can you hear me now?
I can sort of
Very,
hear
very
now.
poorly.
It's awful. Right, hold on.
That's yeah.
Oh man, we tested this. It's going all wrong. Hold
Oh
on.
no, that's better. I
I'm
don't
gonna have a
know.
look at the
Maybe you could
chat while
lean
you're
in a
doing
bit.
that.
Maybe you could lean in a bit.
I
Yeah.
might have
So
to raise it
apparently,
because I can't see my headphones as an audio source.
Oh, really? You might need to rejoin again. I don't mind plugging you into the internet again if you want to rejoin. You've gone completely
I'll
quiet.
have a look at the chat while you're doing that. So I'm just looking at the drafting. Alan's chimed in, and then who said I saw the chat before saying, "So Alan, don't bother watching. This is about drafting." It was Andrew. You might as well leave. This is about drafting, Alan.
Yeah, so, man, I mean, I've seen the toil that that some of the tours taken on people, and I love your
Yeah,
attitude. I mean, I don't think I'd have the discipline to do it. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I would. I mean, I just don't have the
yeah.
time to
It's just
to do it
It's just
anyway.
a
But
mental switch. Like I've done tours where I've tried to like be top of GC, not win, but like top 5, and then you get stressed out because you start thinking about what the other people are doing, how you can try and attack them. It is fun in its own way. Like people do it, but it's for me. If you're going to do 18 stages, sometimes it's easier just to worry about getting a top 10 halfway, like get to the last 4 or 5 stages and see where you're placed. Steve's back again.
yay, we got Steve again.
Taking
Right,
the
let me.
internet now as well.
Oh, that worked. I didn't have to re-plug you in either. That's
Oh dear, did I just immediately hit the internet?
yeah,
That's
you
awful.
straight in that time.
And you know, apologies internet, and you can hear me okay now.
Yeah, yeah. Let's say yes.
Okay.
So you're doing the
Is
are you
it?
doing the full tour, Steve?
I'm
Chasing?
not. I'm not doing the. No, I'm not doing the full tour. It's half term next week, and the kids are taking the kids out. So that's my excuse not to do the full tour. And I'm starting to feel it. I'm starting to feel it's a bank holiday weekend as well, and I don't want to be asleep on the sofa this weekend. Yeah, but Ben absolutely smashed me today in that ITT. I just couldn't keep up.
Ben, why have you got good again? Are you got?
I didn't.
Can you not stay crap for a bit longer?
I saw Steve. Steve was literally sitting behind me until we got to we crossed the bridge, going into that Pave sprint.
And then, do you know what the problem was, Ben? There was no draft. I couldn't stick on your wheel.
Oh, was it ITT?
Yeah.
Oh man, no draft. I can't stand that.
I was trying to be as smooth as possible for you too, Steve, so that I wasn't like forward back. I was pretty smooth until I got to the Pave sprint.
Oh man, I had a plan. The plan was just to go out quite nice and easy, actually below FTP, below 30-minute power, hold it for 10 minutes and see how I felt, and then maybe up the power for a bit. And after 5 minutes, I was standing, sort of like having to stand up and grind 60 RPM. And I couldn't do it. I'd love to do what Adam does and spin at that power, but it just wasn't happening today. And then I got frustrated with Chris Jug and the others. I just couldn't keep going. And then steady state is awful for me. Surges are fine.
Right. Well,
I should have been surging for you then.
I'm sorry, Steve. I haven't given you much of an introduction, but I sort of met you on Zwift a couple of years ago. Did we just bump into each other in races? How did it happen? Or did you been commenting on my videos?
Possibly, yeah, kind of. I joined a few races after doing I did a year at Emily's short mix. So if anybody wants to start Zwift and had a wheel-on trainer, a year of Emily's short mix, 30 minutes is, it was okay.
Emily's short mix?
It's
a workout.
Right. Stuff up. And I did it once.
It sounds like a girl band.
And Rob doesn't go into that page. There's no workout page on Rob Zwift.
That's how I got into it. That's kind of like a long. I won't go into that story. I think Rob's told it before, but I was unfit. I mean, I was quite big a few years ago. Probably 50. I never measured myself, but I probably 15, 16 stone and massively unfit. And I was sort of doing Zwift, did the Emily short mix, but I decided it was time to upgrade to a Zwift Hub when they came out. Got rid of the wheel-on trainer, and once I got the Zwift Hub, I thought I'd enter a race. I'm not a fan of online gaming. I've tried Call of Duty before, and I just get angry. And it just doesn't suit me when people come up behind me and snipe me. So
like Ben does in Zwift.
Yeah, had no idea what I was doing. Joined a race that looked like it was a short race, and it turned up. It was up. I think it was Achterbahn. It was 2 times up Innsbruck. And about 90 minutes later, and frying, I managed 180 watts for about 90 minutes in that. That didn't stop me doing it. I entered a few more races, was awful, had no idea what draft was and about the draft, and just started searching. YouTube's got everything, so I thought there's got to be something on YouTube to help this and sort of tell me what's going on. And I saw Rob's videos. And a few of the Erics, Eric Barfell, Eric Lee, started watching their videos and just learned a bit from there, and gradually got more and more addicted to the Z Race series. And eventually, I was doing it on a mountain bike, but with a squishy suspension. But eventually got into BCAT and started getting dropped by Rob all the time. And maybe I think the first time I was like Glasgow Crit, and I lasted half a lap.
Oh,
but
really?
I was there with Rob Bain, and I was there with Swifty Swifter for half a lap, and that was.
No, I can't keep with you at all. But I remember one. It sounds really cruel, actually, but I remember one in London, and we went up Northumberland Avenue, and I was like, "Oh, Steve's got dropped." Sorry.
Yeah.
Steve got dropped again, and then you became awesome. I was with you on your first podium. That was nice.
You helped me with that first podium. I recall that. I think it was, Yamamoto or somebody, and you were talking about going long and hitting that bump, and like we just came in from the back and we hit that bump so hard, and that was when I first realised I could hold a sprint for about 30 seconds. I had never tried that before, and I realised that hold on, I can go long, and I was able to hold it. And then after that, the sprints just come on just from holding it longer and longer.
And now you're doing chasing, and you've done a whole tour in the past, haven't you?
I did last year. I was having
Yeah.
more fun last year because I was in category B, and I think battling Adam for the podiums. I think we're probably about square. He might have got a couple more than me, but
Oh, Adam, is
endurance.
Adam still winning?
Oh, he's having loads of fun.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, last I saw
Yeah.
Adam absolutely smash the TT last night. So I think he
That's
put a minute and 30 on.
that's Adam
Yeah,
Dawson, Zwiftaholics. Just upgraded to A, but he can have some more fun in B for a little while. Right. Okay. So tonight, I forgot about half the topics. Actually, just put your head up a bit, Ben.
this way.
Yeah. So
I'll be like,
welcome, legends. Welcome, legends. I forgot to say legends. No, I always say legends. It's been a while since I've done the podcast. But the main topic tonight is sticky speed. We're going to talk about why it's not sticky watts, what it's different from sticky watts, my power, microbursting, how it's dealt with in TPV and Zwift Insider's article about it, momentum and draft, the what wasting window, physics of stuff that is rolling, the ZRL Summer Showdown, and the quiz maybe. Actually, I wanted to talk about cheating as well, and I mean I don't want to talk about specifics other than we've been proven right yet again. Well, you've been proven right yet again, Ben, in terms of smart meter, smart trainer.
try this out.
I used to work in utilities, so I'm used to smart meters. Smart trainer as primary. Do you have
You
anything else
eventually
to
got it
add?
out there.
You should have your smart trainer as primary. No pedals.
Yeah, not using your power meter as your main source of power. Yeah, well, we'll get into that. So what's the first topic? I missed it already.
Well,
I've been amused by your inability to speak English.
And Dwayne said that he won his ZRL semi-final because of me, help with tips from me. That's nice, isn't it?
Nice work.
Physics of things that are rolling. Yeah, that's right, Eric. Is there an action film being made? They did seem like someone was skating around, crashing into things behind you, Steve, a bit. I don't know if it's on your
Sorry,
desk or behind you.
I'm new to all this. There's some cooking going on behind me.
Oh, okay, right. Sorry.
I'll mute the mic.
playing the drums.
I've just been reading the
That's a
comments.
late meal. Do you have a late meal after your kids go to bed?
Yeah. It's a Friday, so it's
nice.
steak.
Right. Yeah. Well, it
Have you cooked enough for us on the podcast?
Go on. What's Mrs. Jukes cooking up?
It's steak and chips.
Oh,
Homemade
nice.
steak.
I think that's my favourite meal. Right. Okay. Let's talk about what was I saying? Oh yeah, it's sticky speed.
Rolling stuff.
Sticky speed. So someone has mentioned sticky speed this week. I made some slides, but I haven't linked to them, so I'm just.
I think I might have sent you a message because sticky speed has been discussed in that Discord for chasing pink.
So when I initially heard the term sticky speed, I thought that's utterly ridiculous. What a stupid thing to call what is essentially momentum. And I hated it. And now, the more I think about it, the more I quite like it. Do you like it? Do you like the term sticky speed?
I'm not so certain about it. It does, because the problem is it sounds too much like sticky watts. Maybe
Yes.
we need to come up with a different, not sticky speed. Maybe what is it? The conservation of momentum. That has a nice ring to it. It's a bit hard to put on your thumbnail, isn't it?
Yeah. Let me just woo. Andrew Buffington's here. Oh, I've raced with Andrew a few times. He's awesome. Joe Chuddick. Wow. Hi, Joe. Hi, Alan. Oh, Thomas Sorensen as well. The legend that is Thomas Sorensen. So
We've got a
someone
whole,
posted this.
whole field here.
Sorry.
Yeah, so we'll keep going. So I was going to say, I think we've got a whole field of chasing pink in the chat at the moment.
Oh, really? Right, welcome, Pinkers. Someone sent this and was like, this person has perfected the art of sticky speed. Maybe didn't put it as nicely as that, but this is my power output from a race I did recently, and it's kind of it's a little bit disingenuous because he's like squashed it all into a tiny space, so it makes it look it makes it look worse than it, or it makes it look more erratic than it actually is. This is the desktop version of that. So he was doing it from his phone, obviously. And I tell you what, I noticed, apart from the fact that it goes up and down, up and down, up and down all the time, is that it's actually, I nearly put them like on top of each other, the power things for each lap. So it's downtown. Is it? What's the downtown dolphin? I think. What's the one that goes down the cobbled climbs? Which way
Down.
is
I
it?
think that's
Anyway, it's the Crit City race
downtown.
that goes
Yeah, Crit
down the
City,
cobble
the
climb.
anti-clockwise.
And obviously, it's a great one for modulating your power as you go up the rollers. Yeah, so you go up the rollers, come off on the cobbles, and then there are I think I mean I've done that lap I think in excess of 900 times now. So I know every undulation in that lap. I once did a race that was 50 laps, I think. And so I know every undulation in it, it goes down a little bit, up a little bit. And essentially, this is what people are talking about with sticky speed, is that I'm maintaining my speed in the group whilst modulating my power significantly. Now, some of it is due to undulations in the course, or indeed, or hills, ascents or descents, and some of it is just due to random sort of variations in speed of the group and my reaction to that. And some of it is due to exploiting the watt wasting window, and some of it further is due to Zwift, I think, correctly implementing the physics of how things roll, and we're going to talk about all of
And
that.
you forgot one more, Rob. One more.
Is it
And
one
remember
more?
that. Yep. Remember the Pack Dynamics 4.0 where they've included a lower error resistance if you do above. I've forgotten what it is, but I know Chaddick knows this. If you're off the front, so the attacking maneuvers are also encouraged. So if you lose the draft,
Look, Ben,
being
I've
off the
got a
front, you
slide
also get
prepared all for that. I've got a
perfect,
specific
perfect.
bloody slide. How do you like them apples?
Yeah, get it up.
Do you know, I never think about that. I never, virtually never, ever
Because you're
think
not,
about it.
you don't hit the front.
Well, A, I don't hit the front, but even if I'm doing a breakaway, I don't think about, because the reduction is so small compared to, I mean, I suppose I naturally get it because I do vary my power so much, and I think about it theoretically in advance. But whilst I'm riding, I never think about it. It never even occurs to me, I don't think.
Really?
No, it's too hard to gain. It's too hard to gain. That is, you
I,
you're
I don't
too
say I
much
think
into
it's
the
a
race.
game. Yeah, I disagree though. I don't think it's a game, but it's definitely before Pack Dynamics 4, it was no use doing a breakaway because you'd get absolutely swamped by the pack. Whereas since Pack Dynamics 4, there's a lot more breakaways happening
Yeah.
because people, if you got 2 or 3 riders at the front swapping turns, it can, if the pack's not bothering a chase, you can get a good lead. So I definitely think about it. And I
You
think
do actually think about
TTTs,
it.
if you're on the front,
Only when you're on the front, or
well, when you want to attack the group, if you attack the group, you know you're going to get a less arrow, well, you're going to be more aerodynamic. So if you attack the group, you can get a benefit from it, which is part of that video. I didn't actually go into it in that video because I kind of forgot about putting it in the video. But when I was talking about if you attack from the back, if you attack from the back after cruising along, you'll get a bigger bump away from the group compared to the previous pack dynamics.
yeah, but
Yeah,
you're a
I
little bit more
agree with
slippery.
Rob. I've forgotten about it a lot, but you're right. Certainly people are talking about gaming it by kind of recycling it. I think the conversation's about being able to recycle that. But yeah, absolutely. Coming from the back as you're sort of going into a dip, I think you do get the benefit because the amount of times you can catapult yourself through the back and then over a bump, and I'm pretty sure that you're getting that aero benefit there because you're kind of sort of surfing at the back at 150 watts. You've got a gap, you're getting them close the gap message, you feed in the power, you just hit the power, and you're straight through the front, and you kind of catapult through. But I don't know how long it lasts. I've never kind of worked out how long it lasts.
Yeah, I
And I
mean,
I
haven't
think
thought
it's
about it
still,
either. I just like flying through the back with a bit of a surge.
I mean, they kind of imply that it's as long as you're 20% higher than your previous last 10 seconds, but I doubt that they're doing anything as complicated as that. But I mean, just to put it into context, it's a sixth of an aero. Yeah, it's like hitting an arrow, which is a sixth of the power of it. So you get a 30. Is it 30% benefit you get with hitting an arrow?
Yeah, I think so.
And you get a 5% benefit with this. So I mean, if you can recycle it, I suppose. But I mean, I just haven't got the
it's
mental
it's
fortitude
still
to think about that.
it's still
It's worth
5%.
having. It's worth having, definitely, and it definitely
I
helps.
would, if there's ever a race, I'll definitely keep it. You can give me your 5%, Rob. I do notice a difference, and I think
Yeah,
it's
of
surprising to me because
CDA,
people seem to
not
forget about it for a while.
yeah. As
Or
someone
if
said,
it's
I mean, compared to the draft, it's nothing, and but yeah, I mean, it helps. It's a good idea, I think, in general. What would I change it to? I thought an idea of what I would change it to.
If you change it too much, the problem is you break the imbalance. At the moment, I think it's a good balance between being able to attack the group, but the group also having a reasonable chance of chasing you when someone's just grinding away at the front, not
Yeah.
not putting in digs. And if you're off the front by yourself, you won't then continue to get an advantage. If well, you can do surges, but I don't think you don't want to increase it too much because then you have people just basically surging the whole time. They'll just stop pedaling and they'll surge. They'll stop pedaling and surging, which
Yeah.
is,
I mean, in real
I
bike
mean,
races, so
it's
it's meant to simulate that someone's down in the draw, down, they're leading the pack, as you see in the,
yeah.
in the pro races, they're getting them in the most aero position, the head down, they're doing that. So that's what it's meant to simulate. And
And
the people who
also
are
the
doing
fact
that
that
are the people on the front
yeah,
of the pack, and it's anyone getting no draft, basically, isn't it?
it's also to make it a bit more fun because we got to the stage where it's stupid to make an attack
Yeah.
because the group would just like you'd lose 20 seconds going into a climb because the group would just have so much momentum that you'd go out the back door when you're on the front.
I
Yeah.
was being a bit facetious the other day. I made a comment that says, look, if you're gonna do stuff like that, so you're sort of giving yourself that 5% CDA by tucking. The amount of Zwifters, the amount of people that are racing on Zwift that are standing to reduce power, especially in ITTs and things. Like I was doing it today. I couldn't get enough power, so I was sort of standing for 5 to 10 minutes in the ITT. And you go, if you're gonna give an aero benefit to attacking and accelerating, surely there's got to be an aero penalty for low cadence standing. Don't we have sensors on our seats that tell you when you're not on the saddle?
Let's not go into that.
I would love to have a camera set up.
Serious.
Yeah, if you can have a camera set up and people can see the CDA. The problem is that is so open to cheating. But that would be the ideal setup where Zwift have a camera and go, okay, this is your CDA. But that is just a whole new way of absolutely cheating the system, which
it's 30 years off. Just like
you've got to realize
it's 30 years away.
Yeah. It's just a different sport to outdoors.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
also there's so many different types. I think people forget. There are so many different types of cycling out there. There's cyclocross, BMXing. I come from I haven't done it for years, but when I was a teenager, I came from a mountain biking background. There are just so many different types of cycling that all rely on different applications of power. And so it is just that steady state and being aero is not everything. You look at the BMX world and look at some of those BMX Olympics, and they're hardly pedaling. Once they get momentum, they just over those bumps.
And that is very much what it's like, isn't it? On a rolling course. That's right. I do the BMX thing.
You need this. You need the sensors just for that, so you can get the power from pushing down on the bike.
You just throw the bike around. Once you get your sticky speed up, throw it around.
Get that stream going where you jump up and down the bike.
Georg's here, and he's asked what CDA is, which is coefficient of drag. Is it coefficient of drag air? What is it?
I'll let you answer that, Rob.
It's maybe French.
Someone's going to Google it.
Coefficient of drag for air, is it? So, I mean, let's have a brief talk about the physics. Sorry to bring talk into it so early, But let's have a brief talk about physics. So there's
I
Talk or
promised I
talk.
wouldn't go there. I'm not going to use the word.
so there's three main forces that you face when you're cycling. So the first is rolling resistance, the friction that your tire creates against the wheel, against the ground. The second is air resistance, or CDA as we tend to call it, and the third is gravity. So those are the forces working against you, and then the force that is propelling you forward is the power that your wheel receives to go forward from your pedals. And there's chain inefficiency. There's what do they call it? The thing inefficiency, the efficiency of that you lose between your pedals and your wheel.
Mechanical friction. Yeah, probably. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a whole word for it, but I can't remember what it is. But
Drivetrain losses.
drivetrain
Yeah,
losses.
drivetrain
That's
losses.
it. Yeah. Yeah, and then other things are that you can reduce your do you reduce does your CDA reduce if you've got draft? It doesn't actually, does it? But because it's
Well,
Yeah, I think he
your
sits up
CDA
in the draft.
reduces.
Yeah.
Yeah, because your CDA number doesn't change. It's
Yeah.
the fact that you've got draft means that you're more slippery.
so you're hitting less air, which is
Yeah.
going against you. So someone's pushing
Yeah,
the
so
air
you
out of the
see,
way.
yeah,
In
your CDA
essence.
never changes, but the amount of air that you have to push changes. So the equation of the friction that you're causing changes.
Yeah. Anything else? So yeah, and obviously gravity also works in your favor. So you get acceleration as you're coming down, as well as you get deceleration. Sorry, Chris. Sorry, Steve. I feel I'm using the wrong term. You've got a force due to acceleration, force due to gravity, helping you and not helping you, depending.
I think if you get really into the weeds, I don't think that is the Earth actually accelerating towards you the other way around.
God,
Yeah.
we're not going into relativity. We are not getting into Einstein. We've got to stick purely to Newtonian mechanics.
We've got
we're not going
4
into
hours to kill, Rob. We could do this.
we're not going into relativity. We're going to assuming that we're going nowhere near the speed of light. Let's assume that for the time being.
So we're not doing sticky watts then.
Right? Did we talk about sticky watts? Let's get the sticky watts thing done. Who wants to say what sticky watts is?
Sticky speed.
No, sticky watts.
Sticky watts.
As
Sticky watts now.
just a brief thing.
I don't know. I might get it wrong, but and basically for people who aren't watching, well, people who aren't watching, don't worry. People who are watching who don't know what sticky watts are, it's basically when the Zwift doesn't get a signal from your trainer or your power meter. Some trainers still do it, but like Wahoo, Kicker, Tax Neo generally won't because of the way they send the information. So there's two sort of types of information being sent. Rob will know this a bit better than I do. But if you're using the classic thing, which is the Asioma Geo, which is the gold standard according to GP Lama, you stop pedaling, Zwift goes, not getting a signal. I'm going to keep using the same power that was sent the last time I got a signal, and it will do that for about 3 seconds. So what you can do is don't do 500 watts. You can do 100 watts, but you can technically do anything for a second or two and then not pedal, and then you get 3 seconds of free speed. Now, watt bikes are a little bit different. I've actually seen sticky watts for 100. Well, 30 seconds or 100. For 100 meters, at least, I'm a climb, but 30 seconds, I'll send a watt bike get a sticky watt because they do something slightly different again. But that's basically the gist of it, is that if you stop pedaling, you can gain the system with some devices, which is what sticky watts
I
is.
found out recently, my mission to find out why they don't implement a fix for it. It's because what they do, I think the pedals send a plus or a minus from their last signal, yeah? So they don't, they're not constantly sending power. So as soon as
they're not saying this is 200 watts.
Yeah,
they're saying this is minus 20 watts from the last
Yeah,
input.
exactly, yeah. Isn't that weird? What a weird way for it to work. It's the pedal. I hate the pedal manufacturers now. I even less want to buy some.
It's not the pedal manufacturers, though. Isn't it the protocol from Amp Plus and Bluetooth?
Oh.
I'm guessing that's where it's originated from.
goes deeper. Might well
Yeah,
be.
that's what do they call that? The deep state or something?
The deep pedal state. Oh, you changed
Yeah,
audio, Steve,
big pedal. Is he?
and we can't hear you.
Is it?
So you may have to rejoin once more.
It's the deep state. It's the deep state's got him.
Right.
He's about to crack this wide open.
Now I think we can't hear you, Steve. We can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Oh dear. Let's go back to this.
We can hear you now.
I suddenly thought this might be better.
Yeah, I think it is.
It does sound better.
Get rid of that background noise.
Could you ask Joe to bang some pans and see if we can still hear?
Well, the dog's going to go nuts when the cunning foxes. By the way, that's cunning. Just in case YouTube picks that up. The foxes drive her crazy. So.
But do they arrive every night?
Yeah. They crap all over the kids' stuff. So it's all yeah. And the dog goes mental. So every night you get the foxes at the back. So Let's leave this on.
Okay, right. Well, we've got to crack on because Steve's steak's going to be ready soon, presumably. We don't want him to have a well-done steak.
No.
So
Kerry's timed in saying it's the protocol because what it does is it reduces the packet size and uses less power. That's why it does the plus or minus.
Well, Zwift should handle it better, and they should just say, if I haven't received a plus or minus in the last 1 second, I'm going to assume your power is 0.
I wonder if that will mean all of those potatoes that run Zwift will just suddenly not be able to run Zwift anymore.
I'm just seeing the chat. I've just seen Niall say MyWhoosh Dynamics is better than Zwift. I'm going to disagree with that. I don't get on with MyWhoosh.
Right. So we've had a look at my power, and we've had a talk about how it's different from Sticky Watts. I thought we'd have. I don't know what's in my internet browser. Anything could come up when I show my internet browser, so I'm slightly concerned. But phew.
Everyone's got screen recording going.
Should we look at the microburst test that Zwift Insider did? I mean, does everyone know this? Are we just covering what everyone knows? So
yeah, but everyone wants to hear that other people are cheating. They're not.
So Eric did some tests a while ago, and he looked at whether you get a benefit by varying your power, and he did. He did his normal thing. He was like,
Can we read that privacy statement? You didn't let us agree to it all.
Look, I have to do it to get stupid web page.
I've got to work out which side I got to sit because my screen's been. Okay.
Look,
all right, I'm back in the middle again.
It's going to be well done. Unless we move on. Come on.
And it's Steaks and Shane's favourite meal, apparently. Got it.
Yeah. I was going to say. What are they, thick cut or are they thin cut chips?
Yeah, they're thin. Oh. I actually prefer thick cut if you're doing them home. If they're homemade or like oven chips, thick's better. But yeah, these are thin cut.
Right. One thing he discovered is that you do go a bit faster if you vary your power. You just do. You just go a little bit faster. In some circumstances, it's only marginal basically, but you don't have a big loss. And I think everyone was like, oh yeah, you do. Well, not everyone was, but everyone was like, well, you do get benefit then. It's the Zwift have got it wrong. You do get a benefit from varying your power, but that's not how physics works. That's not how physics work. Everyone assumes that because they assume that the most efficient way to apply your power over a race is to do it evenly. And therefore you'll go the fastest if you do it evenly. But that is complete nonsense. Even on a flat course, it's just not the case. The best way is to whack your power, and then come off completely. And if anything, I was surprised by how little. And that is just the nature of physics, because of the fact that the rolling resistance. Oh no, I can't remember that. I can't remember the fact. Do you know the fact, Steve? Why that is not true?
You built us up, Rob.
So I was reading Thomas's comment about thin cut chips. Sorry, I got distracted.
Right. So basically, it's the fact that the the rolling resistance is equal to the. I don't want to get too much into the maths, but they're directly proportional to your speed. The air resistance is near enough directly proportional to the square of your speed.
Square of your speed.
And the force application is just a linear thing. So as you hit an object, I mean, if you imagine if you had a ball bearing and you wanted to hit it down 100 yards down the road, and you had 100
So golf, basically.
yeah, you wouldn't. Golf ball. You wouldn't. If you had only a certain amount of power, you wouldn't gently rush. Gently pushing it along. You give it a whack, and then it go. Even if you roll it along the ground. If you're playing croquet or something, you wouldn't gently push it.
That's how
if you
I
only had
putt
a
though,
certain
Rob.
amount
I
of
just
power.
roll the ball gently to the hole. I never miss.
And that is just anyway. It's just a fact of physics that it's not the most optimal way to propel an object is not to apply evenly power. Now, it might be physiologically the best way, which is why you see, if you had a flat TTT, you wouldn't go 600 0 600 0 because you'd get knackered.
I would if I could. It suits me. I'm doing 270 watts flat. It's straight. It's horrible.
I know, it hurts my legs, it really does.
Yeah.
But that is just a fact of physics, and people who think it must be wrong, Zwift physics must be wrong because you go faster if you vary your power. You're just wrong. You're just flat out wrong.
Someone on the internet here will correct me, and I'm sure they will. They'll tell me I'm wrong. But if you think about this is how we launch rockets and move satellites. It's all in bursts.
Yeah.
You just sort of move them in stages and in bursts. Everything. If you want to move an object, you've got to accelerate it. I'm not going to use the word, but you've got to physically add some force to it that is greater than the opposing forces, and then that will accelerate and it will change its speed. Once it's got that speed, it's going to stay at that speed until it meets something that opposes it. I think someone commented in Discord before, but yeah.
Then you get met with the Facebook Zwift races, which is opposes it. That's a pretty large force.
Rob, I don't know if you've got that one, but I was looking at some of my outside rides, and I managed to accelerate uphill by doing the same thing. I just found an outdoor ride and found an example of it.
I have got that. Where we going?
Sorry, I don't know if I was just going out of your. But
No, I've got it. It's next, I think. So that's one of the crit races that you sent me, and this, I mean, that's
a real crit race, not mine. But.
Oh, it's missing the bottom. Oh, the bottom kind of is important in terms of time.
And again, I've heard arguments about you've got to get around corners and you've got to avoid crashing into real riders, but you can see the pattern there.
Well, the thing is, when you watch a crit race, the pack's pretty like there's people aren't just jumping back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It, from the outside, it looks like a really smooth pack. Everyone's in harmony, so you see all those spikes in power. But what you're watching, you wouldn't actually know that was what's happening with the riders. That they looks like they're all pedaling at the same power. So you do have that. You say that you have to stop, start, and you have to make sure you don't crash into the riders ahead of you. But from an outsider watching that body moving through the pack, it looks like it's nice and smooth. Yeah,
and even I genuinely, since someone first raised this to me, I'm utterly flabbergasted by the fact that people who ride outside think that it's unnatural to vary your power. And if I've been in a chain gang, if you're just riding along, I mean, I haven't done it that often, but you're riding along, the guy in front, you go down a little bump, or someone at the front pulls off without the person accelerating in front. You have to come off the power. You have to do it all the time, even in a chain gang where everyone's trying to keep smooth. You're just coming off the power. The worst is you got to hit the brakes
going into a hill. That's the worst. Is everyone slows up as you hit the hill. You got to hit the brakes. It's like no.
And you haven't got brakes in Zwift, so the only way you could do it. I mean, you have got brakes, but no one uses them.
Not they take it away in the races now. It's annoying. If it's not a steering race, they don't give you your brakes.
You can steer into the wind, but again, you can't do that if steering's off.
Yeah.
So.
But so your only thing that you've got, Because you do not want to crash into that rider behind you. You do not want to do that in Zwift. You do want to just like go through the pack. You want to be at the back, getting the most draft, or wherever the optimal position is, usually towards the back. So you don't want to be moving through the pack. You want to avoid hitting that rider in front almost as much, not quite, as you do outside. And I have hit the
There's not
rider in front outside
quite as
before.
big a consequence.
I have hit the rider outside. It was not nice. In fact, I had diarrhea at the time, and my only thought as I came off the bike, I was like, "Oh no, oh, no, I'm gonna crap
Did you really
myself
poop yourself?
in a group ride." I'd only been with these guys twice before. I was like, "Oh
Was
no,
that a
I'm
dream?
gonna shit myself."
That is burrito power up.
That was my first, because obviously, when you hit the ground at 35 kilometers
But
per
did you
hour.
actually do it, or did you manage to hold it
No,
in?
I didn't. But I did ride off on my own afterwards. I was like, right, I'm going to get out of the way of these guys just in case it happens afterwards. Right. Sorry about that. You don't want to stay here about diarrhea just before you're about to have steak and chips.
Yeah,
I did, what else? I tell you what, it just winds me up, Ben and Steve. All you have to do. I mean, I was watching the Giro today, and this isn't representative because they've just taken the. This is the first video that you get if you look at the Tour de France in the peloton thing, and they've obviously taken the most crazy bits. So they're going fast most of the time, but you just look at any section of it, and there's people just not pedaling, or
yeah.
just cruising. Just any section. Look, there they go. People not pedaling, or maybe they've gone.
Hold on, did he
Talking about
stop? Did he just stop
buying
pedaling
watches.
there? I think he just stopped pedaling there.
I think he's a cheat. I think
Yeah,
he's a cheat. I mean, these are the fast
And
sections.
him,
But
look at him,
I
he's
know,
not pedaling.
they're doing it all the time, so they don't hit the bloody person in front. To say it's unnatural, I mean, maybe they're going downhill there, but
And
it's
a
just
slippery road.
that 1 in 5 of the
Hell, you
riders
bastards.
is easy enough, and that's obviously towards the end. But it's just what the pros do. It's not an unnatural pedaling style. Look,
Yeah, there you go.
stop
Pedal,
pedaling.
stop there.
It's they're going uphill there, and there was
Are you
someone.
gonna get a strike on if you keep playing this, Rob?
Oh, I might do actually. Yeah. And this is
Welcome to the last podcast.
a crit race, and actually he's very steady. Actually, that's
That's
the most
fair, that's
ridiculous
pretty good.
steady power I've ever seen. I just picked a random part of this crit race. Oh no, there you go. Look, he's going down below 100.
I had to finish this in the chasing tour this week. I had to finish a race. I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. I had to do a triple sprint. Firstly, because Ryan Cole went off in the distance. I was absolutely shattered, and Ryan tried to go long by about 2 kilometers, and I sort of thought I'd let him go. And then found my legs, caught him. It was only 600 watts, but I managed to catch the gap, surfed his wheels for a bit, and then went 500-600 meters, which I thought it was to the banner. Hit it again at 600-700 watts, got to the banner, and found out there was still 200 meters of road because it was a custom finish, and had to go again. So that's 3 sprints, and in between those sprints, I was coasting because I got to get my legs back. And I don't know what happened. I haven't looked at the intervals chart to see the speed, but that's three individual sprints there, and you kind of pick up speed, and they're gone. I closed the gap, drafted, surfed, opened up another gap in that time.
So my power is up and down a bit, and I just thought I just picked any bloody random race. So I think this is the race I did with the stupid advanced races today, ridiculously fast because I missed my race by 4 seconds in the B category. But this is going up the hill. So up the hill. Now it's a little bit stepped, this climb. So what I want to do is I want to get the maximum draft when there is draft. But I don't mind dropping off a bit when it's flat, because I'm going to get the most bang for my buck in terms of my watts when it's hard. And if I'm a tall approaching the front, then I'm going to drop off. And if I get a gap, then I'm going to go down. I'm going to go hard. So here in the flat bit, I go down, using the least watts, and I drop him right back. And I'm like, I'm almost getting out of contact, but as soon as it gets the height, see when it went just down, it only went down for like a couple of seconds, and I was down to like minus, not minus watts.
Yeah, the other thing, the other thing,
I was down to,
the other thing to note with all this as well is like on that course profile there, Rob. If you know the course profile and you know that at the end of that section there isn't a downhill or there isn't a big flat and there is a bump, anyone in that front is going to hit that. It's basically a speed brake. It's a brake. They're going to hit that roadblock first. And what's going to happen is this is probably a UK based analogy, but if you go up the A1 and up any hill, there's a section. There's a section where the lorries go up, right? And I've said this before. Is like it causes a huge tailback because the lorries slow everybody down that are drafting them, and it's the same here. All of these riders on the front will hit that roadblock, and if you're at the back, you just fly through to the front of that.
Look at this bit here. Like I come to the front. I was using less watts than everyone else, and I just flew to the front, and I was like, "Whoa! I have to come off the power."
They're in
just
the wind.
To avoid hitting the front.
Yeah, they're in the wind. They get slowed down first. Meanwhile, you're still in the draft, and you just come through the back. Then when you get there, you don't want to be on the front again. So that's when you just back off.
Yeah.
That's right. You just back the power right off. But you don't need to. What you can be right at the back here, and then get to there. Except, by the way, when Holden Como's racing, I tried it the other day, and he annihilated me when I tried that. He's just gone, and the whole of the pack stretched forward. So it doesn't work when you've got some of those elite riders there.
Yeah. Don't ride. Basically, he breaks physics.
Yeah. I was 1 minute I was with him at the back going into this sort of petty reverse, and the next minute I'd got over it and all the red haze had gone up, all the black haze had gone up the road.
Yeah, and I think most people accept spurted microbursting downhills, where especially if it's a step climb, but you will still occasionally see people like posting power profiles of look at this, it's going down a hill. Look at this up and down power profile. And you're like, hey, it doesn't matter if your power goes up and down because it's not unnatural and it offers no unnatural benefit. But B is going down a hill. Like and they started attacking down the hill. So I had to occasionally put in bursts on the flatter bits. But I'm not actually down a hill. I maybe feel it a bit, but I think I'm only looking at the gaps down the hill. Really, when I'm on a flattish course, I will look at the gradient. Whereas when I'm on a down a hill, I just take it by feel almost, and by looking how it's been stretched out. Like I sort of roll over this 6% bit here. Weirdly, no, I did accelerate over that. But yeah, I don't know.
You can see the gradient in the pack though, because you see the pack when it hits a little hill, it'll all compress, and then when it goes over the hill, it'll all spread out. So you can, if you really wanted to, you could turn the HUD off, and you can see where the gradient is just simply by the pack, the way it's all spread out. Unless of course someone accelerates, but you can kind of feel that in your pedaling anyway. But you'll see every time the pack hits a bump, it all compresses. And then when it goes over the bump, first rider goes to the top, second rider goes to the top, and they'll accelerate, which I've shown that on a few videos where you can see the pack zips away.
I often see people using that source overlay on the map, and I really don't know why they do it, because the map on source doesn't really show that. What I tend to do is if you look at the mini map on Zwift, you can see when things are getting dangerous. If the dots are all close together, you can back off the power. As soon as the dots start to spread out, on sections like that, that's when you need to start putting the power down earlier. And if you watch the game, you don't get that feedback immediately, especially if you're at the back. And there's people who know necessarily watch some of my races. I race in first person, so I don't see the front that often. But if you watch the map,
yeah, that is weird, Steve. I think that's almost cheating. What
I love
is
it.
that view about? You can't see what's behind you.
Oh, pack dynamic. There was a whole thread on Pack Dynamics 4 on Zwift forums. There was people when Zwift to do anything, the community just complains. So that's taken for granted. The community will complain no matter what they do.
It's not my thing. The thing I want is this.
Yeah, if Swift gave everybody free subscriptions and a Tron, people would complain, right?
Well,
So,
they did when they handed out those free plays. Everyone was like, "No, that's terrible.
Yeah,
I
well,
already
that's
bought
because
them."
you guys got
I
them
was
and I
angry
didn't.
actually.
God
I was
damn it!
angry.
but
Oh, my microphone got a bit bumpy then.
But in the thread, when people were talking about it was harder to move up and down the pack, which was true because I was struggling with that changing. You had to relearn how to move around the pack because of the watt wasting window was stronger and there was a bit more elastic band. One of the tips from the Zwift developers was use first person, and I started using first person, and suddenly you just get this perception of sticky speed. You get that perception of it, and you can just ride like you're outside with this sort of monitoring people around you. I often joke it's the Father Ted joke, but if your riders in front of you are getting smaller, they're getting further away.
Yeah.
And if the riders are getting bigger, they're getting closer, and you can kind of modulate everything based on the size of the rider.
That's a great joke, by the way, for those of you who don't live in Great
If you don't
Britain.
watch Father Ted,
Right, although this is brilliant. So what do they do in Training Peaks? Because there is a specific thing that is kind of connected. So we've what do they call it on the internet? We've disproved something.
debunking.
Debunked. We've debunked that it's not unnatural pedaling. There's no weird physics in it. It's perfectly natural physics, as far as I can tell. I mean, the game might, interpret it slightly differently. I don't think many people are exploiting the 5% CDA gain because mainly I'm doing it when I'm at the back for a start. But
Okay. Sorry, Rob. I was just going to give you one more example on that sticky speed thing. Is if anyone's familiar with, again, it's another motorway analogy or big road analogy, but if you're familiar with those runoffs for lorries, they put huge sand traps down there, down hills, and that's because when a lorry, you can't stop a lorry because of the amount of sticky speed it's got. So you have to put the sand traps out, and it's the same with planes. Yeah, they put huge sand traps out to stop these things because they've got so much sticky speed. And it's like the bigger you are, the faster you're going, the more the more it takes to stop you. So on that, I don't know if you saw, but on that outdoor ride I showed earlier, I stopped pedaling on a hill and I didn't slow down, and that was outdoors. It's just the way physics
And
work.
on that note, Zwift, people say, "Oh, Zwift's good for the light riders," but depends on the course. Because if you got a rolling course, it's actually better to be a heavier rider because you do have that momentum. You go downhill into a bump, you'll carry more momentum through that bump than a lighter rider. So that's also another factor when it comes to the pedaling dynamics. As long as I don't want people though to go to not pedaling at all. You got to keep pedaling. Obviously, if you're doing a super tuck, you don't. But if you're doing efforts and then stop pedaling, that can open yourself up for sticky watts. Or even if you're not getting sticky watts, there is looking at it, doing a deep dive into it. I think there is an advantage with every trainer if you just constantly pedal back off, like no pedaling at all, because there's always that confusion with the information. So you might only get sort of 0.2 of a second, but you get 0.2 of a second of free watts still, even with other trainers, I think. So I think if you're constantly not pedaling, then you open yourself up for gaining an advantage. So I'd recommend people don't, make sure you at least do 100 watts or 50 watts.
Yeah, I used to coast quite a bit when I started, but because of all the noise, I now just soft pedal, and especially with virtual shifting, you can just knock it down a few gears, and you can just soft pedal and keep your cadence.
It's better.
This is a big
better
thing
for your legs
bring
anyway.
up, actually. In fact, it was the entire. Ben and I discussed this like 2 weeks ago after the show, and then it became more of a thing on the Chasing Discord, and we just decided to make it a bigger thing. But yeah, what I was talking about is that instead of doing, it's sort of soft pedal. It is soft pedaling basically, and because trainers, we're on smart trainers. It's like you've got gears without using gears, because the resistance change. I've realized, I've been thinking about it today and a couple of days. I am very like downstroke. I'm so heavy, like on the downstroke. I'm like push. Like in general, I'm not using the upstroke as much as I should. But so when I want to back off, I don't stop moving my feet. I keep the cadence
Glide.
going, but kind of use the upstroke, or you know what I mean. I just sort of like release the pressure, and the trainer responds by releasing the pressure, by releasing the resistance. Like, oh, I'm not receiving any power, so I'll reduce the resistance, and and you can keep your pedals moving as long as you're on a smart trainer. You can just and you keep your feet moving around, and having momentum in your legs means
Yeah.
that if someone then attacks, you can it's easier
You can
than
reapply it.
it depends how heavy your flywheel is. I've got a lighter flywheel now than when I had the Elite Directo, and it was harder to get that moving, so I would maybe coast a lot more. Oh no, that doesn't make any sense, does it? But anyway, it's just easier
You
to
got
keep
negative watts again.
That's-
it's easier to
There's
keep
a-
it moving.
There's another
There is
topic. Sorry, because there's another topic in that as well, because that inertia of the flywheel. I think
Steve,
GP
go
Lama
to
done it
town.
before,
Go to
but
town. I want
I'm
to
not-
hear all
there's-
about
there's-
it. Come
There's
on.
there's a whole other topic in
Come
about
on.
like,
Give it
which
to us,
gear-
Steve. Give it
which
to us.
gear
Inertia
ratio
of
you
fly.
use.
I
Is it
want
the
to hear.
magic
I want to
word?
hear all about inertia
Does
of
it
flywheels.
involve torque?
Yeah, come
Well,
on.
kind of. It's easier to reapply the force, right? Torque when if you've got a lot of inertia in the flywheel, like let's say you're climbing up a hill, or that flywheel is spinning with I think the gear rate. I've looked at the gear ratio on the Wahoo V6. It's about, I think it's 7 or 8. So like if you're pedaling in a
Oh,
gear
damn,
ratio
I'm
of
lost
4,
already. I don't know what it
basically if your legs are going around at whatever speed they're going, like 60 RPM,
Yeah.
the back wheel's already going around at 4 times faster.
Right.
The flywheel is going around at 40 times faster almost. So you can start to work out that RPM. You're going around at 40 times your RPM, and you can back off the power, and that flywheel isn't going to stop because everything's attached to your legs. So everything, and I mean, you've got the free wheel, so that flywheel will keep going. And then when you want to reapply power, it's a lot easier. Depending on your physiology, it all depends on the muscles you're using. If you're a climber, you might not like that feeling of having to apply power on that downstroke. You may need something to push against. So if you put it into a really small gear, like if you put it in a 1-to-1 gear, that flywheel and your back wheel is spinning at the same speed as your legs. It can't go any faster. It's physically coupled to your legs. So your back wheel is going at the same speed as your legs, and then the flywheel on the Wahoo is going much slower than it would have been had you been in a much bigger gear. So then it's harder to get that flywheel going again. And some people prefer it slow, some people prefer it spinning fast. It all depends where in your pedal stroke. And GP Lama's got a video on this showing actually like what muscles and where the power phase is coming down. And it changes the angle of the power phase.
That is a really good video.
I tried it myself. I tried to do a video. I tried to do a video going up the grade, and I tried it in different gear ratios. And I used the Zr.app, and I was trying to show where the power phase was. And I'm just rubbish at holding stable power. So like it kind of worked for a bit, and then I decided if I posted it, it was just gonna. It wasn't conclusive, but
This comes back to one of the things that is very rarely talked about, but I'm a big advocate for, and people hate it, is erg mode. People who don't use erg mode jump onto erg mode, and they can't put out the same power that they usually do, because with erg mode, the pedaling stroke's different.
Yeah.
You've got to put more power down to the more duration of the pedal stroke. But I think it's actually a great way to train your muscles, because when you then go to a race, to me, it feels like I've got better endurance in the legs. So very quickly on that topic, yeah, if you ride with erg mode and then you turn erg mode off, especially if you're doing a 20-minute power test, you'll find that it's easier with erg mode off, because the duration of the power stroke is a smaller stroke of the whole thing. So you're being probably more efficient with your muscles, because pushing over the top of the pedal stroke, it's a pretty inefficient way to pedal. Like no one pushes with their toes and then stops pushing on the way down. Whereas erg mode, you do have a larger stroke in your pedal stroke. So if you want to get some gains quite easily, start doing some erg workouts. I'm a big advocate for it.
Not.
Yeah, I turned it off, especially on some of those Zwift Academy rides where you've got to kind of go from 150 watts all the way up to 400. I just turned it
Well,
off.
if it's a short little hit, then yeah, you got to turn it off. But if you're doing 5-minute efforts, 5 minutes VO2, I recommend it. Especially if you're doing my favorite is doing say 2 hours of upper zone 2. In erg mode, you definitely feel it.
It's harder. It's definitely harder because you don't get those breaks where you can relax. The whole point of varying power in the pedal stroke is just being able to release tension a little bit. Your cadence.
Yeah.
And the other thing as well, people point out cadence that say, well, how can you do the same power with the same cadence? But cadence doesn't respond instantaneously. As you drop the force or the power on the pedals, cadence
come on, Steve, say torque. Everyone wants you to.
Right. As you release torque, right, which is the kind of pushing on a lever, that lever slows down, but it takes some time. It's not instantaneous, otherwise you break your legs. Try doing it on a fixie. You can't stop pedaling or release torque on a fixie because you snap your legs. But if you do it on a bike with the free hub, you pull the power off a little bit, you take the torque off, and don't forget it's torque through a full 360 degrees. It's not going on like instantaneous, any of this. It's so you can push the power down on the power phase, ease up, and about a couple of seconds later, your cadence will drop by 2 RPM just by not putting any power through. So the cadence responds to the amount of force you put in it. And if you increase your force, your cadence goes up. Sorry.
No, that was awesome. I actually understood most of that as well.
Okay. Yeah. If you want to make things spin faster, push them harder.
Right. Eric's brought it up. I don't want to bring Eric, but I did find when I moved from a heavier flywheel to a lighter flywheel, I just lost my sprint. I was just went from 12 watts per kilogram maybe to 10, kind of, 13 to 11, sort of that kind of difference. And I don't know whether it was just me getting old, but I just have not done over 11 since getting a lighter flywheel, whereas I used to get up to 13, I think. Does that make any sense? Is there any sense in physics in that, or is it just seems like people who have stages and things like that with big flywheels are able to get bigger sprints?
Again, it's you've got a bigger mass, so you've got to put more effort in to get it moving. But likewise, you've got to put more effort into getting it to stop. I think when I moved from the Zwift Hub up to the Kicker V6, I noticed it. But I think once you get it on top of it, it's just about getting on top of it and getting it moving. I think maybe the lighter wheel. I don't know about that. I think
just me.
There might be something.
It's okay to say it's just me. It's fine.
I don't.
It's no problem. Any comment, Ben?
I think it's because I've gone from a Wahoo Kicker to the Elite Dorito, which has got that stepper motor. I hate the stepper motor. It does make sprinting a little bit harder. There's definitely a technique. With the Wahoo Kicker, I just work it up a few gears, stomp on the pedals, and that was sprinting. Whereas the Elite Dorito, which I'm pretty certain Josh Harris talked about when they went to Worlds, you put pressure on the flywheel, it'll spin up, and then it backs off as it's changing the stepper motor. So you have to put a bit of a surge in, wait for it to come back, and then you actually do your sprint. So you got to, I hated it. It's second nature to me now, but when I think about it, it's so annoying because I've got to basically anticipate when the sprint's going to be, even more so than normal. So I preload my trainer, and then I have to do the sprint. And so I think my sprint power is still the same. One of the things I found was changing trainers, the top sprinters that they don't use rocker plates. They basically bolt their trainer down to the floor, make it on concrete, so that when you do put that torque down, the torque's not disappearing into whatever soft suspension you've got on the bike, which, it's only one or two pedal
spokes. That is one thing that I
spokes.
also changed at the same time as changing my trainer. I used to have my trainer locked down, and now I don't. I did.
No, my trainer moves a couple of meters every few weeks.
Yeah, if you want like that maximum snap on that one first pedal stroke, just put your trainer straight into the hard ground. It is uncomfortable for some people. I've got a mat because one pedal stroke's not going to make a difference in a sprint race. But if you want to get a good number, the best way to get that good number is just have your trainer on the hardest surface possible. So you get all of that torque you put in that first pedal stroke doesn't dissipate into movement on the trainer.
When I was first racing, I was racing on those. I don't know if you saw, but I was racing on the suspension, and I always wondered, I was like, am I losing any power by having suspension and toe cages?
No, Steve, you're not.
Did it change? Did you see any difference?
Yeah, definitely, because you sort of, it's more the dissipate. It's the snap.
Yeah.
The sprint for me, the sprint starts on the first two pedal strokes. If you can nail the first two pedal strokes and get that impulse, you just carry it.
Get the gap,
Yeah.
get the speed.
I'd looking at the data, like your first two pedal strokes so much more powerful than the following ones.
Yeah.
Oh, right. We've debunked microbursting. I think that's
Debunked or just given an explanation.
Steve, is your
It's still
stake?
microburst.
You said you could
It's
only
not like
join
you
for a
don't-
while.
It's looking at me over here, so I'm gonna.
Okay,
I'm
man.
gonna
Thanks for joining.
join the audience.
That was great.
Thanks, everybody.
Cheers,
thank you,
Steve.
Internet.
We'll still be going after you finish dinner, right? Anyway.
Oh yeah.
Thanks, Rob. For
Cheers,
inviting me.
Steve.
Bye.
See you, Steve.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Oh, wasn't Steve great?
Yeah. I was a bit worried about his sound, but once he put his headphones on, it was good.
Yeah.
I got to move my seat back again after.
Niall races on full suspension mountain bike.
I wonder. No, get yourself a race bike. Get some sponsorship going.
Yeah.
Or you mean you race outdoors
How can you use sticky speed? So,
for tomorrow's?
I think what were we going to talk about? Right, another thing that contributes to.
We haven't talked about what Training Peaks does with that.
Oh yeah, I did ask you, but you refused to answer. Do you want to answer now?
I didn't get a chance. You guys started talking about torque. Did you look up what the official thing is for Training Peaks? Because I do
No.
know that there is. So Training Peaks
You've
does
done
similar
Training
what
Peaks, I
Zwift
haven't.
does. Yeah, if it's still the same, because I haven't looked at it for a while, but what happens in Training Peaks is your avatar's position actually makes a difference to your CDA. So if you shows your avatar in that weird sprinting style, you're getting less. Well, your CDA is lowered, whereas if your avatar's sitting up, it's higher. So you can do the same thing as in Zwift. If you get off the front and you do a certain amount of watts above your threshold, your rider will get in the attacking position and you'll be more efficient with this. Well, you have a lower CDA. So it does try to encourage attacking as well. And the reason for that is they want it to be a bit like outdoors in terms of if you attack the group, you want to be, you ride a ducks down. So I'm not sure what the official numbers are, but I think it's pretty close to what Zwift does.
I think what I was actually referring to was that they do actually implement a microbursting anti-cheat thing, don't they?
Yeah, they do that. It's very, if it's kind of strange because if you got pedals, it doesn't, that's the last time I checked, it doesn't pick it up because what they do is they make it so you can't use pedals in certain categories. So I think there's 3 categories or 4 categories, but the last one you can use pedals. But then the next category up, you have to use a trainer for power. And then if you on off again the power, you will eventually get booted, but it's quite hard to get booted if you're trying. The biggest thing is usually if you have bad internet, like bad connection to your, so getting dropouts. So that's one of the main reasons people will do it is they get dropouts.
Right.
They have adjusted it because what was happening is people were going down hills. And of course, if you're going down a hill, you're coming out of a corner, especially in Training Peaks where it slows you down in the corner. You'll sprint out of the corner to get back up to speed and then stop pedaling to super tuck, hit the next corner and
Oh, do
sprint
they
out.
do
So some
super tuck
people
as well?
were getting... Yeah, they do super tuck.
This is what I warned you about, Ben. We did talk about this, and you said, "Don't worry." But they sorted it out, did they?
Well, it's very difficult to get booted from it. Most of the time, I think people get booted because they've got dropouts on their trainer.
Yeah, but I mean, I think they implement it on the basis that some trainers can be kind of overheated or something like that. That was if you're constantly applying high power low power, very high power, low power, very high power, low power. Wasn't it that they couldn't, that trainers become inaccurate at that point? Was that the basis
Maybe
for it?
I haven't heard that, but it's still my point where I think they still believe that if you stop pedaling, you still get a bit of an advantage because of the fact that the signal being sent has sort of, they've got that buffer zone. So if you're constantly doing that, you're giving yourself that small advantage, even if it's pretty small, because they're trying to. Well, the original intent was to do it for like Olympic events, so they wanted to make sure that there was no advantage from manipulating the system. So I think even if you've got like a Wahoo kicker, which is quite good with zeroing watts after you stop pedaling, there's still that time frame where you can get some free watts. It's still there. So I think I'd recommend anyone who does stop pedaling to make sure they just do 50 watts, 20 watts, even if you're even if you've got a good trainer. So I think that's what Training Peaks is. There is also the other fact that you're talking about where trainers, when they do overheat, there's pretty bad, what's the term for it? Because you've got a heat sensor in your power meters and your trainers, because obviously things change once are warmed up. There is a why you've got to do a warm up before you do a calibration for the trainers that don't do auto calibration. And there's thermal drift or something it's called. Usually GP Lama goes into that with pedals when he's going outside. Starts off a ride in the morning and then it gets to 30 degrees in the afternoon. And if your pedals don't have a temperature gauge, then the power becomes
I love
pretty
the term thermal
rubbish.
drift. It feels like we're in like the space age. We've got to cope with thermal drift.
You start putting your pedals in the freezer before you race.
There's been some great comments, by the way. I've just been reading the comments, but
the chat's been good. I've been distracted sometimes.
Yeah. My quiz has been quarantined as well because I did it about cheetahs. So the quiz was about cheetahs, and I included a famous chess thing from about 3 years ago where someone got accused of cheating and someone theorized they might be cheating by having anal beads inserted. And did you hear about that?
I've heard something slightly about that.
Yeah, Elon Musk retweeted it like he's a valid source of information.
I thought you were going to say he's a big user of beads.
He might be. I don't know. I don't want to comment. I don't want to get on the wrong side of Elon Musk. This podcast. That's not something I really want. But yeah, it's quarantined my quiz, so I can't do the quiz because it's just quarantined because I put anal beads in my quiz.
Good thing is I don't have to worry about punishment rise this week because Steve's gone.
Yeah. Do we have anything else to say, Ben? Did you have a look at the itinerary?
What's the rest of the momentum waste window, physics of rolling stuff, quiz. So there's a couple of things. I think there was, for those that don't know, Elite rolled out virtual shifting for everything, but there's one of is it the Drevo, which was surprising because the Drevo was one of the top line Elite model when the Dorito was out, so you can't get virtual shifting on the Drevo, but pretty much everything else you can. I've been trying it out. I've done a couple of dual records. It's quite funny because it looks like posted it in a couple of the different Discords, and it looks like I'm cheating because my dual records are basically identical for like identical. I had to double check. I was like,
bit dodgy, Ben. Bit dodgy.
Did I accidentally? And the funny thing is, like, if you protocols are different or different devices. So if I record my power meter on, say, my phone and my power meter on Zwift, or my trainer on Zwift and my trainer on the phone, it'll be the exact same event, but my fit file will show differences. So if you dual record with the same device, which I think some people are doing to get around dual recording, which is a bugbear of mine because that's worse than cheating, because it is cheating, but the fact that you're deliberately cheating, sometimes you'll get like 1% differences. And so it looks like it's actually a different device. But this one, two different devices and they were 0% over, like I think the 30-second power was 0%, the 5-minute power was 0%, all the way up to the 60-minute power. So because I'm worried about the fact that there'll be those ghost watts that Wahoo and Elite had at the beginning of the year. I'm not sure if they've fixed that. Anyone in the chat, like there's a few Elite riders here. If you heard much about the ghost watts issue with virtual shifting, or has it pretty much been fixed? And then the other thing was, what was it? I should check my phone to see what I said to you. Do you remember? Oh, that's right. So if you've got Wahoo system, you can also use that on Zwift like you do with the other training platforms. What else did I send you?
So, yes, it was Hans Niemann to those in the chat. Magnus Carlsen thought he was cheating against him because he beat him with black. Hans Niemann.
Magnus Carlsen, all I ever hear about for him is he's accusing people of cheating.
He's only ever accused one person of cheating, as far as I'm aware. And it was
maybe it's such big news that it's just constantly in my feed.
Yeah, I mean, he shouldn't be known for that. He's the best chess player ever, possibly, and he once accused someone who has been proven to be a cheat in the past of cheating against him. So,
so the other thing that I saw was FRR did that Everesting for the charity. I should have looked it up. But there was two people that did a double Everesting that day. They started, because they're from Australia, so they started before everyone else, and they're planning to do their second Everesting.
Did they do it upside down, though? That would be cheating.
Depends, though, because you've got to descend still. So if they're descending, they're still going up, aren't they?
Yes.
It's just that first bit's the easy bit.
So what happened? Is there a story? Is there a link or something?
Well, not so much a story. I was just looking on the FRR Facebook page, and there was two. I
haven't heard much about FRR recently.
Because they're doing everything. Who wants to do?
Is that what they're doing?
It's in the what are they doing? They're doing some sort of super series, but it's not on at the moment. And of course, the FRR events being summertime or coming into summertime in your hemisphere, people are taking a bit of a rest from doing indoors, except for us crazies.
Is it quite like that in your hemisphere though, especially in the hot bit? Because your hot bit is
the
really
aero
hot.
team.
Do you really want to go outside in the really hot bit?
Well, the really hot bit, it depends, because if you're a Strava com chaser, that's the best time to do it. The air resistance is so low. If you ride on like a 40-degree day, you can scoot along at 30 k's an hour without even pedaling. Almost.
And the air will keep you cool.
Well, as long as you're moving, if you keep moving, you get used to the heat. It's the worst is when you come to traffic lights all the time. You've got to sit still, and then the car's radiating heat all over you. But some of the best
aircons on max as well.
Yeah, it's just the hot air is blasting at you. But some of my favourite rides are in summertime, not middle of the night. Well, it can be actually. You ride at like 11 o'clock at night. There's no traffic around. It's 30 degrees, no sunlight, and you just feel like you're flying because
you just go along a long straight road or something like that.
Oh, just anywhere. Like you ride through the city, there's no traffic because the air density is so much lower.
Right. So you're cheating, basically.
For those.
Basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Like it's like you're suddenly skinnier. You don't have to lean down as much. I don't know if other people notice it like I do. Like it's a bit like when you go to altitude. One of my favourite memories is riding at about 2,000 meters on a mountain bike along a dirt road. And I was going as fast on that dirt road on a mountain bike as I would at sea level on a road bike on tarmac because the air resistance is so low at 2,000 meters. Yeah. You can't put the same amount of power out, but if you're just pedaling along doing zone 2, you just, it's a weird sensation when you first sort of get into it.
In England, we have to worry about humidity. Like sometimes you go out and it's just like you're riding through water. It's just like, actually, that's just soaked.
That's the other thing.
The humidity is like 98% or something. Like, actually, that's riding into it's turning it into rain once you go up
Yeah. So
20 kilometers
I
per
don't know
hour.
if people are into tuning cars and things, but that's one of the things. Humidity creates extra like air density, so
Yeah.
you're going slower. So if you can
Oh,
find a hot,
massively, yeah.
dry climate, you can. If you want to try and get some impressive average speed numbers, get to about 1,000 meters or 800 meters, a 30-degree day with no humidity, and you can cruise along at 40 k's an hour with that so easily, so easily.
Oh, right. Why is my
Um,
still? Why is? Do you think a quiz question with the word doping in might get me quarantined? It's really annoying.
try tr- try
I've
just to
removed the
misspell
one.
doping.
I've
Just
removed anal
misspell doping.
beads. I've removed anal
Yeah,
beads already,
just
and
just put an extra O in doping. Everyone will know what you're talking about.
I can't think what
Um,
else could be.
but getting back to what your question was, so I know the aero team here in Australia during summertime really struggle to get their top riders because their top riders are out doing the the national races, and so they're they're less likely to be doing a race at 7:30 at night on a Tuesday if they're trying to peak for the series. So that's why Josh Harris, like he's an indoor, what is it, specialist. So same with Gatesy. I think Gatesy does a little bit of outdoors, but Josh Wilson, who's I think Josh Wilson's probably our best rider, but he's much more of an outdoor rider.
And how good are you? No, have you?
Terrible
How,
outdoors. My outdoor bike sitting in the shed without its wheel on and got spiders all over it.
yeah, mine too. But no, how good are you indoors? How good have you got again?
Um, I think my power's about 40 watts down, but I've also got the extra weight. I used to be down to, I think 75 kilos was my main weight when I was racing, and now I'm sort of, yeah, 88, 89 kilos,
I
and
loved being
I
75
could bring it.
kilos. I loved it. I loved it. I was so fast when I was 75. It makes a
And it's
massive
also
difference, which is
I
why,
think it's the
partly
ideal
why
weight.
the weight doping annoys me so much. When I see people who haven't changed their weight for 3 years, I'm like, oh,
I know
Wazzix.
yeah, it, it's a
Especially when
tricky
they were
issue
down,
because
down, 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 down to 83 kilos or something, and then, oh, right,
and
I've
then they don't
stopped.
go back up.
No weight changes
And
now.
75 kilos, I think Swift Insider's done like a dive into who wins what races. And I think 75 kilos is pretty much the ideal sweet spot for Zwift because obviously if you're not racing
Well,
up
for
the out, you don't need
categorized
to be
racing,
super
I
light.
dare say that was under categorized racing.
I think categorized it might have been heavy. I think it was A cat was 75
Oh,
kilos
right,
because
yeah,
obviously if you're
yeah,
a D cat rider, being 150 kilograms is a
yeah,
huge advantage.
yeah.
Which there are a few 120 kilos riders getting around somehow who
Yeah,
ride regularly every day and have never lost weight
yeah.
or actually gained 30 kilos.
Whenever they're approaching the boundary.
Yeah, so DB said you stop riding outdoor when it rains. So I don't mind riding outdoors when it's hot and it rains. Sometimes when it's like a 40-degree day and it rains, it's wonderful. But
Ooh, I
yeah,
used to
that's
like
the
running.
great
I
thing
used to
about
like
Zwift.
running when there was a rain, especially like sort of towards the end, a little bit of a drizzle or something like that. Nice, but
You're
I
not
don't
worried
fancy
about
it.
bloody tram lines and white lines when you're running, that's for
Yeah, that's
sure.
true. Right, Ben. I think we're going to wrap up with an hour and a half gone.
No
I
quiz?
cannot get this
You
quiz to
could.
work, no matter
Okay.
which. I can't remove all the questions. Do
I
you think
think so.
stripped?
Yeah,
Oh, it's stripping. Maybe. Do you think stripping might be the word?
I think so. I
I'm
think
going to go. I'm
stripping.
going to go for. He was stripped of his titles. Do you think? Can that possibly? They need AI to moderate this, don't they? It's far too coarse. If they've taken the word stripped, that's just ridiculous. Um, let me try it. Let me try and remove that question. I've lost it. I can't find it. Right, I've only got 8 questions left now. Edit, edit.
No, Thomas.
No one's
Thomas is
interested
asking
in.
about punishment rides. No, no punishment rides, Thomas. We hate them. And no one watches them anyway. We set it up and 10 people watch.
Oh, still quarantined. I can't remove them all. This is just
And you,
ridiculous. I've got 7 questions left.
Don't worry about it, Rob. I think apart from the tour, I can't really think. What other events are on at the moment? What was the Z Racing or something? What's happening with?
Mercury.
Because it's coming to the end of the month.
No, it's not coming to the end of the month. There's still, I think there's still 2 left. Seems weird. We did Mercury May last week, so last fortnight ago. So I don't want to do it again. That's it. We're done. Let's be done, Ben. We've covered everything. Let's be done for once.
I'm sure I'll think of something once you press stop. We'll talk about it for 2 hours after you finish the stream.
Oh, if anyone wants, does anyone? Let's give people in the chat. I did say that people in the chat could call in. If you want to call in, let me know, and give me a Discord ID or something. And if you've got something to say, if you disagree with the fact that we've completely debunked that there's anything wrong with
call in if you want to call Robert cheap,
modulating your power, let me know. Yeah, come on, let's have an argument. We haven't had an argument for ages. What should we argue about?
We argued about what was it before? I don't know. There was something at the beginning of the chat we're talking about. Oh no, that's right. The fact that you can get an advantage from that 5%. I think you get a huge advantage from it. I love it. I think I would like to see Zwift just remove it for 1 week just to show the difference that it has on the dynamics of the pack. You wouldn't get those 3 or 4 riders getting away and then people stressing about it in the pack. And also, it makes a difference if you're at the back of the pack. It creates splits.
People
at the
still
moment,
don't
you can't
work together in breakaways. Why is that? Why don't you know? I go to if I get in a breakaway, I go to the front for a bit. Like, come on, let's.
That's a good topic. So what's the etiquette when you're in a breakaway?
No one ever pulls through. No one ever does it. No one ever pulls
through.
But
do you want to pull through if you're not a sprinter? Like, I know that there's some riders who
I've gone up to them.
Yeah. But if you're not a sprinter, you want to be in the breakaway and you want to have the best chance of winning. Is it better for you not to pull at all?
I'm not saying that it's not ever a good idea. It's to just go up to the breakaway and sit on it. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that you just do not ever get 3 working together. You just get you're either solo or okay, if you get 5, it works. 5 against 8. Yeah, that might work. But you don't get 3 against 10. That just never works. People just don't. Like literally never, is what I'm saying. Never do 3 work together.
Do you ever type in the chat like work or pull do the elbow?
I tell you what I like to do. I say 1 minute turns. I'll go first, and I go first, and then everyone's like, no, can't be asked.
What do you do? Because what I do, if I get into a break, I'll do turns until about 3 kilometers to go, depending on the course. Obviously, it's up the Alp. There's no such thing as getting in a break. But I'll do turns, and then when you can see there's a 15, 20-second gap to the group behind, when you get to about 3Ks, the group behind generally doesn't try and chase you down because people are starting to think about the sprint. So
Group 2 syndrome.
You can keep an eye on that, and then I'll stop doing any effort in the group. And then what I'll do is I will do an attack with, say, 1 kilometer to go and see, or even less, or even more, I should say, like 1.5, depending on the course. Wherever there's a little bump, I'll attack to see if the 2 in the group or the 3 or whatever it is in the group want to chase me. Because a lot of the times they'll look at each other and go, okay, I'm not closing that because...
Oh, yeah, I mean... You can almost drift away from them sometimes, can't you? Like without even trying.
If you break that draft,
up and I don't want to be second wheel. And
if you use that 5% and drift away, Rob.
Yeah. No, I don't want to close it. You close it. No, you close it. No, you. Close
and if they do chase it, then good thing is you can let them roll past you. You've got the draft, and then you've got that draft for that last. I'll go early on Zwift. I never sprint from 200 meters or 250 meters. That's way too late for me because I haven't got that. Some people have got their 1500 watt snap. Yeah. I haven't got that 1500 watt snap. So what I do is I'll look to see when it gets to 800 meters, I'll see if the pack slows down. If the pack slows down 800 meters, I'll go from 800 meters because if you can get if you can get separation 800 meters, then it's very difficult for the pack to then decide they want to chase you because they don't want to put that effort in. With that race I did with you, the previous day I'd attacked at the same spot and no one chased, whereas the race I did with you, I think people worked out that's the place to go because then there was 3 or 4 riders that went at that time. So every race is always different, but when you're in a breakaway, go early. Don't, unless you've got that 1500 watt sprint, then just sit on. There's been talk in the chat about the different series. Sisu Scramble. I'm just reading what Scramble.
Oh, no,
yeah. It kind of sounds like
Sisu Pinku is still going on, I think. Pinky? Sisu Pinku?
Did you end up doing them all? Well,
no,
obviously
I did the
the ones
first
that have
one
been
and
done.
then got promoted to the next category, so I stopped doing it.
Isn't so? That wasn't. Did you stop doing it because it was going to be harder, or did you stop doing it because of you'd ruined the GC sort of thing?
Because it was harder, but it just the times didn't work, and excuses.
I didn't realize it because we were talking about it that day, and then I did a epic race, but I didn't realize that the pink had a few times during the daytime, but then the next time was maybe 8 o'clock at night, and then my midnight. So I missed out on doing that stage.
Oh,
and I just
spiral
didn't
into the
that.
volcano tomorrow, which I do like. If I can get on that, I might do it. Oh, actually, I've got the kids all day. My wife's away tomorrow, so no, I won't be doing that. I quite like that course, but not with the 8. We were gonna talk about the. We've missed a whole thing. The Zr.app Summer Showdown. We can carry on, Ben. We can drag this out.
I was thinking there was some events we missed out on.
Yeah, the Summer Showdown. Let's talk about that. It's hard to get enthused about it in a bloody dear WTRL, but that's my text file. We don't want to see that. Why is that there? Right. Let's change this. Oh, there we go. Oh,
you see, Joseph in the chat agrees with me that 5% at 800 meters to go is a kill shot, he said. So, Rob.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I'm not the only crazy one.
I'm not saying it's of no use. That sounds brilliant. Brill, great.
It does sound brilliant until you get to 200 meters to go and you realise that you still got 200 meters to go.
Yeah.
My cadence starts slowing down severely.
Oh, I went long in the Makuri May on castle to castle. So do you know the finish? It's got 3 power-ups it's got like one at 5k to go, one at 3k to go, and then one at like 1.2k to go or something like that. And when I was on my stream, I was like, I was hoping to get like an arrow so I could do like a double arrow attack. Like use the arrow with 1.2k to go, and then hopefully get another, and then choom, off you go, create a gap. But I was like, I was in it against a pack of 19. I haven't got much of a sprint. I didn't get another arrow. So I was like, I just look a bit stupid now. But yeah, WTRL are doing the Summer Showdown, which is, I think they did last year. It's like a mini ZRL. So there's 4 races, 4 riders per race. But you can have a squad of up to 10. There's loads of times. There's a new point system.
There's a TTT as well.
There is a TTT up the bloody volcano. 3rd rider across the line, not 4th, counts. So, I could stop on the volcano. That'd be nice.
Yeah, that's where you'd like. I'll do the hero pool, guys, and pull into the volcano.
I'll do the 1 minute into the volcano.
Yeah, I always like doing those. It's usually in our team. There's usually a fight over that person, but like, I'm dead. No, I'm dead. No, I'm dead. I'll do a hero pool. No, you're not. You're not doing a hero pool. Keep riding.
Podium bonus. Oh no, we've always had. But I thought I thought it was a return of something new. No, that looks all fairly familiar.
Yeah, it's neutral bikes again, which I think you've come around to the fact that neutral bikes is probably better. I don't think there's neutral socks. There's someone who asked if I saw neutral socks. DB asked about neutral socks.
So the 4 races are for A's and B's. The first one is Three Little Sisters. Oh, on time trial. This stupid advert won't get out of the way. Eric, get rid of your adverts. And then Big Flat 8. Oh, that's really flat. They get a really flat one, don't they? Compared to Three Little Sisters. Blimey. And you get a power up. What? On a TTT bike?
Yeah, they've had it a few times. It's always funny. That depends on what is the power going to work.
Does the draft power up
what
work?
power? Yeah, like the power ups still work on the TT bikes. They just don't give them to him. But of course,
you get
it's
zero draft on a
WTRL.
TT bike. Oh no, of course you don't.
If you do negative watts, you get draft. But yeah, it's WTRL. God knows what power up we're really going to get, and depends on the time zone.
Yeah. Then Glyph Heights. Oh, I do not fancy that at all. Do not fancy it in the slightest. Legends and Lava I could do. Why didn't they just do that? No one wants to do bloody Glyph Heights, do they?
Well, Niall does.
Yeah,
Niall will have his aero socks by then too.
Yeah. Mikuri 40, that's all right. I prefer Nyogo All Nighter. I should be a C. Again. This is ridiculous.
I think it's so. Durham says, "Is it neutral bikes or neutral bike upgrades?" I think it's neutral bike upgrades from if it's the same as the last ZRL.
Yeah, so bike upgrades are disabled.
Yeah, because I think the issue with the neutral bikes is if they make it a neutral bike, whatever bike is neutral will have the upgrades applied to it, which is what the event organisers were running into with the issues before. So if the new update, they can make it neutral upgrades. So you still want to choose a good bike and wheels.
Just basically, how long is Zwift? I mean, I kind of agree with it, but how long is Zwift gonna let them get away with no steering, no braking, none of the stuff that we've invested in, no Zwift racing
Discord. He made a good point because I've been like, okay, I've got my SL8, I've got my TT bike. I don't need to worry about upgrading. But then, of course, we've got some jungle circuits, and so I need to go upgrade my mountain bike.
We've got some jungle circuits. Where?
Yeah, well, there's that. What is that jungle circuit? Anyway, there's like literally a circuit where you just go around the jungle. I'm not sure which events will have them.
Jungle circuit. Is it that one?
I don't.
What do you mean in general, or for a specific series?
Well, there'll be events that include it. Like I've done a lot of events in the past where they have just had the jungle circuit, and I'm always like, I'm going to use the gravel bike, and I'm going to use the mountain bike. Right, I think now the mountain bike's probably the fastest, and if they're going to include upgrades, I've got to start working on my upgrade for my bike because that actually a level 1 versus level 5 is a big difference, especially for someone lazy like me.
Yeah. Okay, so that genuinely is the end. I'm just going to try my quiz one more time to see if they've unquarantined since I've deleted all my questions. Surely now I've deleted all my questions. It must. I don't know what. I can't even find my window now. Do you have anything interesting to say whilst I'm doing that?
Nah, I never really do. I'm trying to get a video out. I'm trying to edit the video down, but long story short, the TT bike is still the fastest over the entire course. I tried bike swapping. It depends how fast you can bike swap. So if you can bike swap within about 3 seconds because you go up a hill, it's probably faster. But of course, if you introduce a bike swap to it, you can end up absolutely making a huge mess of it. So I think the fastest way is still full aero. Don't worry about bike swapping because that way you're guaranteed that you're not going to completely ruin your race. But it is interesting looking at what I did do is because Eric asked about, I think it was 330 watts and then 370 watts at his weight and power versus just steady state. And the answer is, of course, that putting more power up the hill is faster
Yeah,
compared to
that was
steady state.
one of my favorite races that I did was Bologna time trial when it was eventually in Z Racing or something like that.
There's a
And
chat saying that I've gone underwater. Is it?
oh,
Do I sound fine now, chat? Maybe it was just a stream issue.
well, you look fine on the volume thing to me.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah. Anyway, we'll see. That was my most interesting bit of information.
Yeah,
But I'll try
I
and
went
get that
to
video.
I think I went to next to last place on the flat out of
Yeah,
12 or something. So I went down to 11th place on the flat, like doing maybe 240 watts or something. So my FTP was maybe 300 or something. And then I just did 240, rested, and then hit the climb. Oh God, it was awesome! Like overtaking everyone, just letting everyone go away from you.
yeah. It's surprising how the lack of time you lose on a TT bike going easy to the climb.
Yeah, it's
You
like
like
12
the
seconds maybe, or 20 seconds, or something like that. You're like,
Yeah, you
yeah,
can make that up in just like a bit of a spurt at the entrance into the climb. So, yeah, I think GP Llama ages ago when Bologna was first introduced, sort of showed the whole pacing thing. It is pretty sort of a deep dive into it, but yeah, I'll try and get that video out
I mean
because
that does relate back to the sticky speed thing. It's you may as well, even if it's a -1, you may as well come off the power, even if you're losing 2 or 3 positions or you're dropping off the draft. Even you can if it's going into a bump, you can easily make it up on the bump with
yeah,
far less.
it's the same as if you're going to attack or you're going to close a gap. Just wait till the bump. The worst time to do it is as you're heading, like, not over the top of a hill, but as you've gone down the hill, is to try and then either
Yeah,
get
well,
away or close a gap.
the speed's
Yeah,
high and blah blah blah.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah, pushing wind.
right,
All right,
let's
we
end
better
it
go.
there. Thank you, legends. That was great in the chat. It was nice to see you all. Um, I guess we'll see you again soon. And thanks for joining, Ben.
Yeah,
That was nice.
thanks,
Thanks,
Steve. Hope you're having
Steve.
a good skinny chips.
Yeah, and steak. Ooh, I could do with a steak.
Let chat go before Josh Harris wakes up and starts wanting to ask questions about sticky speed.
Okay, cheerio. Oh,
Uh,
we should get Josh on again. Okay, cheerio.
yeah.
Bye.
See you all.